This looks like beer,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Here's to the Phillies.
Here's to the Phillies. Cheers. Roll the credits.
It's been a long, exhausting day. Your troubles just won't go away. One thing that gets you through these is watching cheesy holiday movies. You think that you're above them, but you know that you love them. So get ready to listen. Now here comes Kevin and Kristin. Oh yeah.
Welcome to Remark. I'm your host, Kristin Finger.
And I'm your other host, Kevin Reagan. And we are talking about the 4 Hallmark movies that came out this holiday weekend. What holiday, you ask? I guess the week before Halloween?
Yes, it's a big one.
Seems earlier and earlier every year.
I think this is what it was last year too.
Was it?
To be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I still have my Halloween things up and yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't going to redecorate. That's like 2 weeks. And then we go full on Christmas. But there were 3 movies. Or there were 4 movies, 3 of which had the word Christmas in them. We're going to be talking about Noel Next Door, No Christmas, although I guess Noel means Christmas. We Wish You a Merry Christmas, We Need a Little Christmas, and a Kismet Christmas. Woo!
Listen, Kevin, when are they going to run out of titles? Because it's going to happen, but like maybe by that point it might be okay because it was so long ago that like they did one. But I will say I had the folks from Hallmarkable watch Falling for Christmas, the ice skating one from a few years back, and we pitched new titles for it, and the best one was On the Edge of Christmas, because like the cutting edge, it's very like a cutting edge.
Yeah. How about Mistletoe Pick?
Mistletoe Pick. See, there's better options.
Yeah, you should have had me involved in that conversation.
Yeah.
I was busy watching something else all weekend.
Listen, folks at home, who care? I'm not even a sports fan, but my husband is a big time Philly sports fan. And when I see his excitement, I get excited. And then obviously if your team's winning, you're like, I'm on board.
Yeah. And the whole city is so excited. So it's an amazing time to be in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So if you're not in Philadelphia, my apologies. For many,
if you're in San Diego.
Whoa, a lot of apologies.
Real spicy.
So there are going to be a lot of movies this year. We're going to do the entire weekend, and rather than make this a 4-hour episode, we are going to employ our friend, the Wheel of Fate, which is a real wheel, a real physical wheel this year.
Oh God, that's like the penguin's umbrella in the middle.
Yes, it hypnotizes you. What do you think? Yeah, it's very jigsaw. It's got like a saw quality.
Yeah.
So I thought we could do is determine how are we going to do this for these 4 movies. We'll obviously feature one of these films and get really into the nitty gritty. The other ones, we will come up with some options.
Okay, so Kevin, our options for not the feature one that we'll be speaking about are we get 7 minutes for one of them, 5 minutes for another, and only 3 minutes for the other.
Whoa.
And we are both chatty Cathy's.
We are. This is going to be tough. So Noel Next Door, I'm going to spin the wheel and we're going to see what we get.
Oh my gosh, we get 5 minutes. We could
do that.
Yeah.
All right. So the way we will do this, Noel Next Door, I'm going to give you some background before we start the clock at 5 minutes. So if you watched, or if you didn't, Noel Next Door, aka the guy in 224, that rhymes, was on Friday, October 21st, starring Natalie Hall, Corey Sevier, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I saw an interview with him today. And his co-star in Pumpkins and Things. Is that what that was called? You watched it.
Pumpkin Everything, I think.
Pumpkin
I
Everything,
watched
yeah.
that one. That's the same guy?
Yeah. I believe Corey. I think her name's Corey Hart, and that was in that with her. Not to be confused with I wear my sunglasses at night, and she didn't even know how to pronounce his last name. Which
Amazing.
Was hilarious to me. Maybe it was Tori Hart. That would make more sense. But this was written by Keith Hemstreet, who did Ghost of Christmas Always. Yup. And also The Most Colorful Time of the Year, which is I think they're both movies that are coming out this year. So we'll see more from Mr. Keith Hemstreet.
Yeah, we're excited about that Ghost one because we have theories.
Yeah. And then directed by Max McGuire, who's done a ton of Christmas movies as well as a lot of TV movie thrillers. So we'll kind of get into that a little bit. This is the Hallmark approved plot, and then we'll start the timer. So we have a hardworking single mom gets into a war of words with a neighbor who she feels is ruining Christmas, only to find that this misunderstood grouch just may steal her heart. Kristin, are you ready to put 5 minutes on the clock?
Yes.
And go.
I'm going to open with this right away. The fact that there was a tampon joke in this movie makes me really happy.
Yes.
And folks at home, I hope that, it's a women's product. I don't feel bad talking about it.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was just so sweet that's what she was holding. And she was like, pesky thing comes back every month. And I was like,
happens every month. Yep.
Brilliant.
And he counters with fiber talk. And it's like, listen, this is conversations adults have.
I wrote that too. I was like, oh my God, fiber jokes, tampon jokes. Like, I am very much here for it. The one thing that this gave me vibes of was the when Kristoffer Polaha played the Scrooge like one last year. The actors have sort of the same vibe-a-do. We got not only one, but two almost kisses. First ruined by Santa.
I call that Santus Interruptus. Santa Claus. Santa has to stop interrupting the love in these movies, but it happens more often than you think.
I liked the hidden treasure of like they didn't figure out who each other was for quite a while. Yeah. So like what I did like was this little boy realizing, oh my gosh, my mom's been really happy. Yeah. I need to go apologize to this bro.
Yeah, so the little boy's name is Henry, and Henry is kind of crappy. Like I actually wrote Henry's a terrorist in my notes because
that's correct.
He's kicking that soccer ball. Like they want you to think Jeremy Gears is the quote unquote bad guy, the guy in 224. And he's not. The guy's had a stroke. He's dealing with a lot of stuff. His wife left him after he had a stroke. I'm sure they had other problems, hopefully, before that. So like, and then like when the Christmas carolers come, they make two huge flaws. One, they want to sing 12 Days of Christmas, which we all know is the worst Christmas song in the world. It's 8 hours long.
I need caroling to stop. Like in general.
I'm okay with it.
I don't want a group of weirdos coming up to my house in like outfits and singing at me. I would be like, absolutely not.
But I like it.
I might be the Scrooge in our neighborhood.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm that kind of weird. But he slams the door in their face only when they sing "Jingle Bells, Your Breath Smells." I'm like, now you've insulted the man. And that's what they said. And he slams the door. And that was Shannon. So Shannon is Noel's sister. And she's like, so obviously everybody is anti this guy in 224.
Yes. So there's numerous cases of him being a fuddy-duddy with the poor, like, assumably, like, condominium, like, board member. Like, he was mean to him.
Yeah,
this
Louis.
Is something, Kevin, what I'm finding more interesting about some of the newer Hallmark films is they are not only just going to small towns anymore. Yeah. They're putting themselves in a place that can be narrow, right? Yeah. So it's like they are just this condo world is sort of like this small town in this movie. Yeah. But it doesn't, we don't have to have like 9,000 creepy,
extra. Yeah.
I
mean, there's the diner. They did go to the Moonlight Diner, which I believe is the diner in the Paul Campbell film, if I'm not mistaken, that we love.
Oh, fantastic. Well, there's the thriller.
Or the name. But and your man Lewis, I will say, he is a bit of a muckraker because he loves to bring bad news and then kind of takes pleasure in it, but he does it from the point of view of almost being like, well, this isn't me.
Yeah.
Watch Lewis.
But there was like, okay, I'm going to say this. There were 2 points in this film that really kind of actually genuinely bothered me.
Yeah.
Which was when the little girl in the store was like, Mommy, what's wrong with that man? It doesn't look like there's literally anything wrong with him.
No.
And then there was another part where like he was trying to take his coat off, and because they were out in the cold, his arm was stiffer than normal.
Yeah.
And she was like, you're causing a scene.
The date. Yeah, he was on a blind date. That was not Noel, because Noel ends up coming over and helping him take it off.
No, yeah.
And
like that just seemed like, I was like, okay, the man's had a stroke. He's even so, don't put I just didn't like that was in the script about any sort of non-able-bodied person. I was like, what is happening? They made her
extra bad. We had a flat earther in this episode. It was wonderful. I will say this was the thing that I really wanted to get to. I'm watching the time tick down and I'm like, no. My fear was her love was going to heal him from his stroke. That was a big fear.
I was very fearful of that too. And
they kind of did at the end, because it jumps a year and he holds her hand with his bad hand and it's like a little more mobile. But I'm going to go science on that.
I'm going to go physical therapy.
And there you have it. That's 5 minutes. That was fantastic, Kristin. We really did a good job on that. I'm proud of us.
Me too, because we did. We hit all of it.
Did we though? I just want to look at my notes real fast. I think I'm all right with this.
I literally, everything on my notes we talked about, except for the fact that the main actor looks like Brett Dalton, who was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and has done a couple.
I felt there were times he looked like Colin Farrell. Like he would move a certain way, and I would be like, "Oh my god, he looked like Colin Farrell there." So yeah.
Are we H3Oing any of these? Probably not.
Yeah. Oh, all of them. We do that
later.
We do that at the end. And if anybody's ever watched this before, you find that's how we get our cheat in to talk more about the movie when that comes back in. When you're like, why is H3O running 6 minutes long?
Why?
The second movie that we had to watch this fine weekend was a little something called We Wish You a Married Christmas. And I believe, Kristin, is this the film we're going to dive a little deeper into, or are we spinning the wheel on this?
No, we can spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel. All right, here we go.
7 minutes.
Oh, that's enough time to talk alpacas.
So many alpacas.
Okay, so as before, let me give you a little information and then we'll get deep into the film and time it with our 7 minutes. So We Wish You a Married Christmas was on Saturday, October 22nd, starring Marisol Nichols, who you might remember from Christmas CEO last year, which we panned. We were not fans of. I felt like it was not a film that really showed females in a very positive light.
No.
But she is also from Holly and Ivy. She is one of the first characters we've ever seen die in the movie, which is still mind-blowing to me.
She's also on Riverdale. So apparently I need to get cast on Riverdale to get cast in a Hallmark movie, because the actress that's going to be with Tyler is on Riverdale. So I understand the stepping stones of Canadian theater.
And I'm going to butcher his name. Chris already said she adds in way too many Allahs, but Kristoffer Polaha? I think I said it.
I think it's Polaha.
Send letters. Look, you know the drill. remarktheshow@gmail.com. Just get on there and say, Kristin, that is not how you say it.
We know it's
also,
not
Kevin,
correct.
that is not how you say it.
Polaha.
That's
Polaha.
Lollapalooza. So we know him from last year's Dickens of a Holiday, and also the guy in Wonder Woman 2 that a lot of us walked away having very uncomfortable feelings about. What
I felt so bad. Like, he was abused.
He gets quantum leaped into, for lack of a better word. He is the quantum leapy.
It just wasn't necessary. If we're able to time jump quantum leap into somebody, we could have listened. We're in, it's DC. I blame DC Comics.
Our 7 minutes have not
keep
started.
talking about Hallmark, because I will get angry.
I know. So the plot of this film is a couple goes to a quiet town to reconnect at Christmas on the advice of their marriage coach. Chris, are you ready for 7 minutes?
Yes.
Let it rip. Go.
I will be honest. the tippy top of this confused me a bit, the way it was shot, but then I sort of got the vibe that they were throwing at us. So this couple had been together for 13 years and they were going stale because both of them put all of their heart and soul into their careers. So of course, the moment they pull up to this town and see that giant ornament, we knew immediately that was going through the windshield.
Don't park under it. That was your fault.
Park under it.
That was your
fault.
fault.
Also, bing, 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 bing. Gay owners of a bed and breakfast. They were the sweetest. I love them.
Yeah, so let's talk about them briefly. So this is in the town of Gracious, Maine, and they go to the Green Brea Inn. And Brian and Vincent are the gay couple that run it. I think Brian and Vincent were also clients of this marriage counselor.
100%. Yeah. Also, Kevin, this ties in to my theory that Ali Sewell and I have been talking about recently, that any of these movies could be a horror movie as well.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
Because there is a literal horror movie from like 2008 or something called Vacancy, where a husband and wife have to like stop on the side of the road and stay in like a hotel, and they get trapped in this like hotel and like filmed and murdered. That could have. Are there alpacas? Is my question. No.
That's why we needed that. That would have been just because
it's like
alpaca would be an iconic horror animal.
But the way you're thinking of it is that this sweet couple was like, she really helped us, because they did mention at the top they had trouble too. Yeah.
And you still see them fighting, which we can come back to.
But like, if this was a horror movie, these people were like the marriage coach was like the harbinger that like led them to the.
Yeah. She owns, well, I actually think she owns stock in this, which is unethical as hell, but whatever. Yeah. So actually I will bring it back. Brian and Vincent, there's a point where they bicker. And I think that's so important towards the end of the film, because no relationship is like calm water. I mean, I'm sure, I guess there is a relationship out there, but there's ups and downs, and that's just the way it is. And you work through it, and then they have the tools to work through those issues, which ultimately Robbie and Becca are giving each other those tools. I do want to bring up, though, because I found this so funny. At one point, there's a situation where Robbie volunteers his services to bake. And Becca's like, what? You know how to bake?
Yeah.
And then they go around town getting all of these different elements to bake to help out the inn. Mm-hmm. And then a scene or two later, when there's the drip falling and somebody doesn't show up, and Robbie's like, I can bake some pies. And Becca again goes, wait, you know how to bake? And I'm like, oh my God, it's like
they're not listening. They're not listening, and that's their problem.
Kristin, you just made it better for me, because I was like, did they leave a scene in the script that wasn't?
I think so. They must have. Yeah. Maybe.
No, I like what you said. They weren't listening to each other.
But here's something very important. If you don't know this about Kevin loves parades.
Oh, do I ever? Yes.
And this parade was hyped up so much that I thought Kevin was going to lose their mind. And then it was like one float.
Two. Come on. It's in my notes. 2 floats, 2 dogs, 2 floats. But they acknowledged it, and I love it.
They did, which was, I thought was very hilarious. But I was like, man, Kevin was probably really pumped for that parade.
I was pumped. And when the first car comes out, I even said to Julie, oh, this is a nice parade. And it was 2 floats and 2 cars, I think. There was a car, another car.
Wait, what makes a nice, like the candy cane dude came out and the snowman started it. And then you're like, look at this car. This is a good parade.
Chris, did you think that snowman was the same creepy, speaking of horror films, from Christmas with the Darlings? Yeah. I thought they pulled it out of the warehouse and they're like, Jim, put this on.
Put this on. Oh my God, it's the same one. Oh my God.
I think it was.
Oh golly. Also, we had townsfolk going hard on like A, Christmas, B, their relationship. They locked them in that closet. There were so many circumstances that were
You felt the town locked them in that closet?
Well, not like the town, but I feel like everyone was in on it.
Yeah, but the wind blew the door. Do you think the wind is a member? Yes, that was the wind.
I think someone brought them in there and then shut them in.
Summoned the power of the wind?
I don't think it was the wind. I think someone they didn't know walked by and shut the door.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lots of doggies, which was nice. Their dog's name was, I'm going to call him Tiger. That's not his name. It's in my
Jerry.
notes. What was it?
Jerry.
Jerry, yes. And they both confided in Jerry, which I thought was a nice touch that they were able to open their hearts to the audience, to the screen.
Yeah.
I do want to point out two things. One, I don't think you watched it close enough because you posted a picture of your cat, Agent Coulson, with a top hat, and I wrote al dente, and you said, what? Al dente was the name of the alpaca, the famous alpaca in this movie.
Oh.
They made a big deal out of it. They had alpaca
That's right.
grams. Yeah.
I forgot. I can only keep so much inside here.
You're like Becca. You don't know of bakers or alpacas.
I don't listen to you. I don't.
Yeah, you do. You watch the episode again later. You're one of our reviews. Here's the thing, and Julie pointed this out, and I definitely want to point this out because it was awesome, and I didn't think of it until she said it, and then, of course, I thought of it because she said it. As Kristin said, this was a couple that was married for many years. You say 13. I thought it was 15. Let's say 14. And at no point is there any talk of, when are you going to have kids? Why don't you have kids? Anything about kids. And I thought that was awesome.
I loved it. I loved it that it wasn't like, I thought that's like what her mom was like when she was sitting on the bench with him. And she was like, my mom just has one Christmas wish for us. And it's like, to be happy. I thought it was going to be like to have kids. And I was like, don't do it.
No.
And they didn't. So thank God. Yeah. And the thing is, like, Jerry is their kid. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Let them live their lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
didn't do it on the last one. We should do it on both this and the last one. We've got 13 seconds. Thumbs up, thumbs down on this one. Chris, what do you think?
I'm going to give this one a thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm a thumbs up on this. I liked it. I would definitely recommend it to Hallmark.
I chuckled.
And in the last 3 seconds, we've run out of time now. But on Noel Next Door, thumbs up, thumbs down. What are you thinking?
I'd give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, overall, I wasn't offended by it. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I might even be like a little.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
There we go. Yeah.
It was a solid opening weekend.
It really was. Like, there was nothing like wildly, although, we're not done yet. So
We're not done yet.
next we had, do I spin the wheel to see? I mean, we said 2 minutes. So is this our 2 minutes?
We get 3 minutes.
3 minutes. I'm so sorry. We need a little Christmas. IMDb, by the way, calls this thing Old Friends at Christmas. So it was very difficult to find this originally when I first started looking for the movie and all the.
Thank goodness for the Friendly app, because Kristin forgot to record it this weekend, and Kevin was like, "Did you watch this one?" I was like, "No." So I watched it today.
This was the one we both watched at the last minute. So all right, so let me give you the information on this bad boy before we jump into this. This was on Hallmark's Movies and Mysteries on Saturday, October 22nd. This one starred Erica Durance from Open by Christmas, if we recall that last year, which I like that one. I'm going to butcher his name, and I apologize. Patrick I can't say it. I'm putting it up. I don't even put them up in print, but that one's up there. Who was in the Christmas Sale, which I liked a lot last year.
Yes. That was Kevin's oddly favorite of almost last year.
I don't know why you didn't like it, man. It was
I didn't hate it. I just was like, Kevin, get over it.
Kristin hated it. Kristin all summer long kept saying that movie was awful. Lynn Whitfield, who I think is the star of this film, to be quite honest. And if you remember, the spooky kid from Coyote Creek Christmas, Azriel Dalman. This kid.
Man, unbelievable.
Yeah.
He can we start?
No, not yet. Give me a minute. This was written by Graham Locke, who wrote Christmas Together with You, and Angela Mancuso. Is directed by Kevin Fair, who has the upcoming 5 More Minutes moments like these, and of course, Always Amore with Tyler Hynes. Here's the plot, and then we'll talk. Julie is juggling being a single mom to a grieving child and facing her first Christmas without her husband when she develops an unexpected friendship with a neighbor. Before we go into the 3 minutes and I start the timer, let me show you another description of this movie that I found online, and it might have been a description of Old Friends at Christmas. Wildly different. Okay. Irene is a vivacious I love that word. Irene is a vivacious elderly woman who had been alone in her home for over a decade before Julie moved in next door with her young son, Gavin. Kind of true.
Kind of true.
Different description.
Very. Yeah. Okay.
Let it rip.
We had that sweet kid who just should also be in horror movies.
I love him. I love him, man. Yeah.
Because there was that moment where he was just like in the doorway in like the class, like at his camp. And I was like, kid, stop creeping everybody out.
I wanted Irene to look and then he was gone.
Yes. He's so good. Like he's such a good performer.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I don't know. I felt like this vivacious neighbor was extreme, which is I think the point.
Yeah.
But then like my mind, I think it's because it's still spooky season. So I've been watching horror movies and then these. So every time I watch one of these, I'm like, oh my God, she's
gonna kill them all. Yeah. Yeah.
So I probably will let go of this theory once I stop watching all the horror movies I'm watching.
No, this is the one to keep that theory. I have never witnessed a body count in a Hallmark movie like this. Everybody that is not on screen is dead. It was insanity. The kid's father, Julie's wife, husband is dead. We have
her kids are dead.
Yeah, so Irene's husband Walter is dead. Her daughter is dead, and her daughter's husband. So she had her grandkid. Yeah. And then we meet Peter, who owns the bar and restaurant, and his dad is dead. And it's just like, oh, he went with all this.
A zombie apocalypse happened and everybody died.
I think it's important to give the spoiler that if you watch this movie, I'm not going to say what happens, but Miles does not die. And that's important that you know that. Because there is a moment you're like, everyone's dead. This is not good. And you're like, he can't come home for Christmas. Is he dead? He's not dead.
He's fine. He's okay. He's okay. Well, that was that movie. Did we do it?
No, we still have a whole minute.
What?
This is a movie that desperately needed a writer's room. There's a lot going on because there's a good movie. And these are the type of Hallmark movies that usually make me angry is when you have a really kind of a good movie in there and you didn't pull it out. And it's like, I thought the actors were fine. I thought
absolutely. No one was like bad. It just was a lot of hits coming at you.
A lot. And it is one of those rare ones, and I think this tends to happen more on movies and mysteries, that there is no kiss at the end. And I was grateful there wasn't, because I didn't feel like, I felt like they connected enough to be like, we're together.
No, I think what was nice about their relationship was that she was doing adult things again. Like in getting out, and no, listen, don't be spicy, but like getting out and meeting people and just having a friend that isn't your kid. Do you
That's all you can talk about? Yes, I agree, but that is time. So we need a little Christmas. We do. Whew, Kristin.
We need a little Christmas. Right at this very moment, we need a little Christmas now.
I believe the great Angela Lansbury sung that song, so... The late, great Angela Lansbury.
R.I.P.
That brings us, Kristin, to Sunday night, our flagship film we're going to really break into, A Kismet Christmas.
I didn't know what to expect because the commercials seemed a bit, they pulled the like cheesiest one-liners from it. And I was like, I'm not sure. This might be a bit much for me.
We'll get to it. We should also, did we do thumbs up, thumbs down on We Need a Little Christmas? You're down. I don't think I'm a full down, but I'm definitely like.
I'm like here. Like it makes a square.
I wouldn't watch it again. That's just no. So Sunday, October 23rd, the night the Philadelphia Phillies clinched the World Series, won the National League pennant. People are like, I don't care about baseball. Stop talking about it. This film starred Sarah Ramos in, I believe, her first Hallmark Christmas movie.
I think so.
Yeah, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Carlo Marks from Making Spirits Bright. We're going to be talking a lot about Carlo because I am a huge fan. He's on the list to a new shirt. New shirt. Seriously.
New shirt.
Yeah.
Oh boy, season 3 shirt.
Yes, yeah. And Mary Lou Henner from A Kiss Before Christmas. I love Mary Lou Henner. This was written by Betsy Morris, who did Snow Coming, which I don't know that one, but it's directed by Mark Jean, who did 8 Gifts of Hanukkah, which I do remember that. I remember liking that one a lot. Here is the plot, and then, there is no time on this one. So this is Sarah is a children's book author who returns to her hometown where she reconnects with her family and Travis, her teenage crush. She soon discovers that a long-held family legend might actually be true. Spicy.
It's very spicy.
There's some spice. There's a little spice in this.
Oh, I loved it.
So, what do you want to do? I mean, I can break this down. We can discuss it.
We could roll through it. I will start out by saying I loved the flashback element at the top of this show.
Yeah.
I thought it was really fun.
I did too, but there was an inception moment to it. So it starts off in the bookstore in current timeline where Sarah Grace is reading her book, Isabel's Kismet Cookie, to a group of children. She reads a sneak preview of her second book, which we will find out throughout this movie is not completed, and it's an issue.
Yeah.
Her agent Benny is there with her at the reading, and they announce not the winner of the contest that they're running, but the hometown of the winner and where it's going to be announced, which is New Britain, Maine. So we're back in Maine again. We had one Seattle, 2 Maines, and I think a Chicago, because they showed the Chicago skyline.
Right. Yeah. B-roll.
Yeah, it's a lot of B-roll being reused from 3 years ago too.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you guys have a drone, use it. Get out and get more.
Get out.
It broke. Somewhere along the line, the Hallmark drone crashed, and they're like, "Well, we got what we got, and that's all."
We got it. It's fine. This is the big C, and it's like it's Chicago every time.
Yeah. And sometimes they have the needle for Seattle, and other than that, it's where it is. So they announced this, and at this point, Sarah Collins, who is the pen, that's Sarah Grace is the pen name, explains to her agent Benny the entire story of
I would say overreaction.
Oh yeah, well she was young. I think I tried to figure that. I think she's 17.
When that's happening?
Okay. About 17. So yeah, we go to a flashback. She gets out of a car. Not Sarah Ramos though, the actor. This is also a confusing thing. Sarah Ramos plays Sarah Collins, who uses the pen name Sarah Grace. So we're just going to say Sarah from here on out.
Yes.
So Sarah gets out of her car in this flashback. She's 17 years old, and it's a different actor, but it's still Sarah Ramos's voice, which I didn't mind that.
What?
You didn't
I
know
thought
that?
it was her, just like, because I thought it was Carlo Marks, just
it was Carlo
with
Marks.
Like the weird, like
his hat was backwards and his hair was out, and it reminded me of Jimmy Fallon in the "You sketch on Saturday Night Live with Rachel Draft. No, you are, and they even had like that banter.
Because tonight the night's gonna. It's like very emo.
Look, I might be wrong, and maybe that was actually Sarah Ramos. I don't think it was.
I think it was.
You?
I think they added the little barrettes. They did her, and she was acting just differently. I think it was the same chick.
Also, a great time to email us at remarktheshow@gmail.com and say, "Hey,
find out for us.
You're right.
We don't do the
Hey,
research.
Kristin, Kevin is right."
Why would they do that with her? Yeah. Who she looks much younger than Carlo Marks.
I don't know. Carlo
Marks. Tonight's the night when.
I hope they did, because then it doesn't make sense, and I love every second of it. But do you remember what the name of his car was that he was selling? And we'll talk about that in a minute. But do you remember what the name was?
No, I only remember the name of his minivan.
Yeah, the car was Night Runner because it looked like Kit from Knight Rider, but they copyright.
They couldn't do it.
Yeah. So he was selling it, and she was kind of surprised because, why would you sell your car? So then she goes in, sees Grandma Mia. Grandma Mia's friends are leaving. Her friends' names are Miss Patsy and Raylene. Kristin, I have a theory.
that Allie and I were those characters?
No, that the three of them are a coven of witches.
Which is 100%.
Right. I loved it. I've
seen Practical Magic. I understand how small town witches work.
Yes. Chocolate? It was Practical Magic. The one has a chocolate shop. Yes, without a doubt.
100%. 100%.
So Sarah goes to talk to Grandma Mia. They make the Kismet cookies, and we learn the legend of the cookie within the flashback. So we have a flashback, and then the legend is told in the flashback, and I felt like it was Inception, and I loved it.
It was cool. It was really cool. And then we get back. So I was so confused because I will be honest. Maybe you can just explain it to me. So her mom died when she was young.
Right.
So she had her dad.
She did.
But her dad would just ship her to grandmom's for Christmas.
He was a terrible dad. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So
I think it was like Alan Thicke in that one movie with Candace Cameron where he just sends her away all the time.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That dad.
So then she went as a kid till she was 17 to go visit grandmom for that week or so when she was off from school.
Also,
she decided not to go back.
Yeah, she didn't. She never went back, but she still talked with her grandmom. So what happened in the flashback too is we just hear about the Kismet cookie, which very quickly is the idea. Mary Lou Henner's grandmother was in this house that the Collins women built, and that was another thing very big on Collins women. They felt like witches, and bumped into this secret little compartment in the house. And when they opened it, there was a recipe for Kismet cookies and the instruction of, after you make these cookies, if you put them under your pillow and sleep on them, you will dream of the person you are meant to be with.
Honestly, why wasn't it that they could eat the cookie?
Nobody ever ate them ever. They're terrible.
Furious.
Probably gingerbread, because you know my feelings on gingerbread cookies.
Come on, don't slack off on that. But seriously, it could have been okay, I'm going to bed. Munch, munch, munch. Go to bed. Dream about it.
That makes so much more sense.
Right? Go in these Practical Magic velvet bags with a cinnamon stick. Maybe some other raven's breath and
yes. Yeah. That newt's eye.
That's why they couldn't eat them. They were don't eat these.
I know, this would kill you.
This is a spell bag. There was never a cookie in there. They were just spell bags.
It was the ingredients for the spell. You have to do it yourself. And if you don't toss and turn on the pillow enough, it doesn't mix it up. If you're a sound sleeper, you can't have true love in this story.
That's why it didn't work.
No, so it did work. And that's the whole point. So Kristin has a heart of stone.
True.
So you put it under, and originally Mary Lou Henner's mother, Mia's grandmother rather, put it under her pillow, fell asleep, dreamt of her greengrocer, went to the greengrocer the next day and said, "You have something to say to me?" Which I think is hilarious. And he's
Which is hilarious. I'm going to go to my local Acme and be like, "You have something to say to me?"
And bread's on sale? I don't know what to say.
I don't know. Go Phillies.
I've loved you from afar for as long as I've seen you. And they got married 2 weeks later, and here's the whole family. So obviously that was Kismet. That was true love.
Kismet.
So Sarah, plain and tall, decides, I'm going to do this. And Mia says, no, you're too young. You have your life. There's no need. And she does it. And she dreams about Carlo Marks, not Travis Walker, Carlo Marks, the actor, because that's why I dreamt about last night. So she wakes up and is like, it's Travis, my friend Travis. He calls me Sarah Bear. There's a whole reason for that. We throw snowballs at each other. He is my one true love. So she jumps out, runs to the house, busts open his door, and there he is in a tuxedo with a bride. And
why are we getting married in the foyer of your house on Christmas Day?
Because it was a shotgun wedding, Kristin.
It was, right? She was pregnant, right?
Yeah, they never said that, but that is 100% what that was. He was selling his car. There was a whole...
Okay. I thought so. And I was like, Hallmark, just say it.
Yeah, that, even Lifetime's a little Hulu. That's a Hulu thing. They're like, everyone's pregnant on Hulu.
Well, so believe it or not, we're still in this flashback.
But in the movie too, it is a very long flashback. And then it comes back, and Benny the agent, who also I have to find that actor's name because he is of the Daniel Bacons of the Daniel Wong's, not Daniel.
Yeah.
Is it Daniel? Daniel Wong, right?
I think so, because I always want to say BD Wong, but that's the SV guy.
I love this guy. He plays Benny the agent. He just has a way about him, and I was just like, yes, I'm totally. And his whole thing was, we're going to this town. Like, there's
you got to see this guy again, and blah blah blah. Yeah.
So they go to the town. There's a Dickensian Christmas going on. She meets the winner. They announce the name of the winner. It's Jasmine. They don't say her last name strategically. The winner is Jasmine.
There's only one Jasmine in town, so come on up, kid.
Well, she also goes by Jazzy. So once you know that, it's like, well, that's very unique. So Jazzy comes over. Her father, dressed as Father Christmas, comes over as well and is a bit of a creeper, Chris.
Creeper
Kringle?
Yeah, because he doesn't immediately say like, hey, it's me.
Yeah.
Which is the point of the movie. I get it. But it is, because she keeps looking like, what is he?
And I loved it. Her side eyes at him, like, who's this creep? And it's like,
first of all, if there's some like dude dressed as Santa, I find it creepy immediately because it's just like,
again, you have a heart of stone.
I don't trust Santas.
Santas interruptus, man. You can't have that. So then she says Sarah Bear, and that's when our dear Sarah Collins Grace Ramos says, what's his name?
What's his name? Travis Walker?
Travis Walker.
It got really steamy. And then she, once again, Overreactor of the Year award goes to Sarah for just packing and being like, I'm out of here.
I'm leaving. Oh, her big overreaction too was she ripped up the recipe. I forgot about that. I'm sorry. And
that's
a flashback. Yeah. So, and then it's Jazzy though and Mia together who kind of convince Sarah to stay, and she does. And you're a little like, what's the deal with Travis for about a minute, and the second Carlo Marks is out of the Santa outfit, you're like, this guy's the greatest guy. Look at Kristin. She's, New Britain. You know what's up. I don't know what's happening. It was so great. It was,
oh my God. Are we at age 30 yet? Because
we're going to be there soon. We're going to be.
All right. I got to make sure I write down steamy eyes.
I'll tell you. So, we can jump through a bunch of this, but so Jazzy has this contest, or won the contest because she has this book tree idea, which is really cute. Although it was weird because it was like they made a big deal out of the library. They have this great library in the town. Sarah was always going to be a writer, and Travis was always kind of the not great student, you would assume. And he tells her later when he would read her work, he would go and read all of her reference materials at the library. It made him want to be smarter, essentially. But if I'm not mistaken, Raylene she's not the librarian. She runs the bookstore, right?
Yeah, there was a bit of a disconnect there. But I think it's the same place.
Oh, you do? Okay. Because
I do.
I felt like they should have had it just the singular. Otherwise, we never saw the library then.
No, I don't think we ever saw the library. No. I think we just always saw the bookstore, which also might be part library. You know how you can go to there's used books and there's...
Yeah.
So that's maybe they were using the term, like the Strand has the whole floor that's used books, new books.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that's the only, why are we trying to reason?
Can I ask, when we found out that Miss Patsy has this mayor who she's kind of, playing footsie with, we'll say, were you excited for who that mayor might be?
A little bit. And then I was let down because I don't know who that man is.
I didn't know him. And he was great. He did an awesome job, but I was hoping one of our peeps was going to show up, and they didn't.
Bummer. Missed opportunity. I will say that it was odd, not odd, but there were so many secrets going on in this movie at one time. And it was just listen, everyone, maybe go see The Marriage Coach from the other movie, because not even for marriage advice, but for communication advice.
Yeah, just to communicate.
No
Take
one-
an improv class.
Yes, take an improv class at cscphilly.com. But see, comedysportsphilly.com. But anyway, that sort of was just like bothering me. Of just everybody just sit down.
Yeah.
Everybody just figure it out. Okay, we can't have 7 misunderstandings. Because I was getting mad that Grandma Mia wasn't sharing that she was going to sell the house, but there were like
she was dying, right?
Everywhere.
Yeah, and it felt like she was dying, like something was happening. She was going to die. I thought it was going to come back into play with the last cookie, which we'll talk about.
Oh. But okay.
We start to get more of a relationship continuing, I guess, with Travis and with Sarah. We find out Travis was a park ranger, which is awesome.
That's I didn't know that uniform could be sexy, but I'm just gonna say.
Jazzy goes and has an overnight at a girlfriend's house, and the whole time Travis expects her to bail, and she never does. So he spends, much of the evening with Sarah in what was the name of the minivan?
It's Moon something.
The Moonboat.
Moonboat.
That's a great name.
It's a good name.
Oh, the Moonboat. That's a good middle-aged name.
The funny thing is, so they went that night that you're talking about, they got to go do Christmas trivia.
Yeah.
And those trivia questions were the easiest trivia questions I've ever
They were, but they made me so happy because it was like very modern. I thought it was going to be Alistair Sim in
yeah.
But it was Hans Gruber in Die Hard.
Yeah.
It was Bill Murray in Scrooge. So yeah, I was happy about that.
Oh, I was also, these are weird details that end up me being like, come on.
Yeah.
Which is when he was like, which sweater? And I was like, that first sweater was amazing.
It was too small though. But Julie said the same thing.
Was it?
When it was the white one? Yes, it was. That sweater was for like a little kid. Jazzy wouldn't have fit in that.
But like, it's not, but he could have gotten a larger size.
Oh, without a doubt. It was nice. That brown sweater was nice. Yeah.
They went with the plain white sweater that she was wearing in that moment.
She was wearing, and it was like, oh, I like this one. Of course,
I like that one. It's really nice.
Julie said the same thing. She's like, oh, that's what they're going with.
That's because Julie and I dress cool, and we don't wear just boring white sweaters.
I would have wore the second sweater personally. I liked it.
Same.
Yeah, the mustard and.
I was very mad at this.
They were Padre colors, so I would not have worn them. Take that, San Diego. So then Travis takes Sarah to this cabin to cut down a tree. We find out it's his dead uncle's cabin.
I can't. There's another. Listen.
Did it annoy you that they had a hatchet, and then when they had the tree, it was the clean saw cut, and I was like,
I don't care about that. What I care about is this boy. Oh, this man. Let's call him.
Did he locked her up? Horror film.
And he locked her up in a cabin in the woods.
Took her phone away.
If that's your kink, Carlo Marks, it's mine as well.
Did that cabin remind you of the cabin we went to in Puxatawny when we went through?
The bear was out front. The same bear was.
Yeah. It didn't have Daryl and I in a hot tub. That was what was missing.
That was what was missing. You guys just in the background. But that was so freaking sweet that he, like even the night before or even the day before or something, when he's like, maybe that was when, I don't care when it was, but it was amazing when he's like, I was up all night trying to think about how I could help you. And I was like, has anyone ever been up all night thinking about how they can help me?
Yeah. No, we're going to sleep on our cookies.
I
got cookie ingredients under my pillow.
Wowza.
So then she writes the book, and that all with his input as far as like just helping with the things and letting her bounce things off him. He even says he's not the creative type, so he's not taking credit for anything. But then after she gets the book written, she sends it off to Benny. She goes back to Mia's. Mia has to go out to do something, and Sarah decides, I want to try and make these Kismet cookies again because all these people need them.
All these people.
And she kind of like calls upon the house, right? She kind of has her own little summoning circle and opens up the trap door, and the recipe's back in there taped up.
Listen.
Yeah.
I would believe it was magic if it wasn't taped up.
Yeah. The magic doesn't need tape, right?
I think Grandma taped it.
Yeah. I do too.
So, which is fine.
Yeah. She's
But
a
I
witch.
think-
Still magic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Wait a
Grandma-
minute, Kristin. Maybe it was invisible tape. That's magic, in my opinion.
But we saw it.
Well, you know what I mean by invisible tape, though. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't masking tape.
Oh, you're making a joke.
Kristin is the artistic director of the comedy theater I work at.
I have notes.
That's the type of notes she gives. So, anyways, she makes a batch of cookies and she makes 12, but she takes one specifically for Patsy. And she has an exchange with Jazzy, who comes into the kitchen as she leaves to give Patsy hers, which was an awkward moment. And my brain didn't pick anything up. It just was like, that was weird.
Yeah.
So then Mia comes home, finds the cookies, and word gets around town. She gives out all the cookies. Sans one. She saves one cookie for Sarah. And Sarah
moving for Sarah. But Sarah wanted one for Mia so she could dream of her Walter again.
Yeah. No. Walter was a different movie, but her husband.
I don't care.
Yeah. She could dream. All dead men are called Walter from here on out. That's dead Walter alert. So Mia could dream of her deceased husband. And in the end, Sarah says, no, I want you to have it. Sarah doesn't need it. Sarah goes to bed. When she wakes up in the morning, she goes to Mia and she said, I have two questions for you. One, did you dream of Grandpa? And she says, yes, I did. And she says, two, how many cookies were in that basket? And she said, what are you talking about? We gave them all out. And she said, how many? And she goes, I guess like 9.
That was literally the 1 + 2 + 2 + 1 + 2.
That's your movie. And they determine that Jazzy is a little thief who needs to be punished. She took one and put it under Sarah's pillow because Sarah dreamt of Travis. And in that moment, Travis wakes up and realizes, oh my God.
I love Kristin.
I should. And which is just so silly. I mean, look, I'm going to show my hand. I loved this movie. I really loved it. It did have some little problems. I didn't care. I overlooked them because I loved it so much. But he didn't see this all along. Come on, dude.
No, he did. Do you remember the scene before? You skipped a little bit because she found out that Grandma was selling her house. Yeah. And she was like, wait, but there needs to be a witch here. Collins. I forget what their last, Collins would. So, but that's when she started telling Travis, and Travis was like, well, it'd be really cool. I want you to live here. Yeah. And he said, because I'd love to see if that cookie was right. And then Overreactor of the Year award for the 3rd time in a row goes to Sarah for being like, I can't, I'm out of here.
No, she didn't know. She did. She did not. She took Benny to the airport and then she came back.
No, I'm saying she was like, I can't have this conversation. I'm out of here.
Oh, then you're right. Yeah, she did. Yeah, she doesn't like to see things through, including her book. She has to be locked up in a cabin. Kristin, thumbs up, thumbs down. This movie.
Any thumbs up. I'll give a paw up too.
Yeah, watch that one. I would watch that one again. That's definitely one I highly recommend. Speaking of highly recommending, and speaking of endings, I tried to make it a butt joke. Kristin. So many gents to talk about. Chris, why don't you explain H3O in case anybody is watching who's never watched an episode of Remark?
My goodness, are you new to Remark? Are you new to Remark? Well, welcome to season 3. Typically, the universe objectifies women, and we're tired of it. So, on Remark, we objectify the male lead of the films. That way they can understand how it feels like it when they're not high on the patriarchy.
Take that, hot dudes.
Stupid hot dudes. Okay, great. So we rate these men 1 out of 10. We started out mistletoes, but it's just stuck to heinies now because
never went back. Yeah,
because Tyler Hines is our the highest.
Barometer. He's the
Yeah.
barometer, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And so 0 out of 10 heinies. And we don't objectify the actor playing this character. We are objectifying the character that is in the film and what the character looks like in the film. Kevin.
So our first one is from the first movie we talked about, which was Noel Next Door. We are talking about, and if I butcher it, I apologize, but I do believe it is Corey Sevier. Sevier, I believe.
Sauvignon.
Sauvignon. Yeah, it's a nice fine wine. He's a nice fine wine, I'm going to say. I'm going to give the man an 8, and I'm going to give you a little reasoning why. I liked him. I liked that he never truly got angry. He did get drunk once, and man, he destroyed his apartment. Pictures were askew. That's how drunk he got.
Kevin, I was going to mention this, like almost each of these movies this weekend featured a moment of like, let's get drunk to feel better. And I was like, this is new for Hallmark.
It got real this weekend. Yes. But I like that it reminded me of the movie About a Boy, Hugh Grant and About a Boy, which is a great, great movie where he's kind of a prick. But obviously in this movie, you get it. The guy's had a stroke. His wife has left him. He's dealing with a lot. And he's trying to find his way back in. I think he's doing a decent enough job with all this outside negative influence that for the most part he deflects, but the couple of things like the kid, very similar to About a Boy, that he just can't. And in the end, I think it was the moment when when Henry came to confess that he did in fact do all these things, including the toothpick and the lock. And at first, Jeremy's like, "Oh, you did do that?" And the kid's like, "Yeah, I saw it on YouTube." And he's like, "It's actually kind of a cool idea." And I was like, this guy's great. And in the end, things worked out, and I was glad they did. But yeah, he was a good-looking dude. I give him an 8.
Yeah. I agree on sort of the character of, he wasn't ever fully like mean. There was a moment where I wrote down, is he chasing a child? But like, he like honestly wasn't. What was he gonna do? You know,
he had a cane on ice.
There's no way. He knew in his heart he was. You know what I mean? He was just shooing this kid away. But so, I honestly don't remember his wardrobe that much. So it couldn't have been, crisp white shirt territory.
No, I don't think so. A lot of cardigans. A lot of t-shirty type.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm sure he looked nice in pants. Yeah. And he had some nice pea coats that made him look like mysterious. I don't know if I loved his hair. I don't know.
This is a rough hair weekend.
It was. Everyone was parted weird. They like chose to like partially part things.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's very handsome. I'm going to give him a 7 because this is the first, I don't want to get crazy, Kevin.
Yeah. I know.
I'm giving him a solid 7. I'm giving the character of Scooby a solid 7.
Scooby-Doo, nice work. That is for Gears, for Mr. Jeremy Gears. Then we watched a little movie called We Wish You a Merry Christmas with Superman. Nope, not Superman. He is a bit Supermanish. Wonder Woman 2 star Kristoffer Polaha.
Kevin,
do we do
this man is all legs. Okay, this man is like, I looked it up. He's 6'2".
Yes.
And the actress is 5'4".
Okay.
I think the length of his legs is the height of that actress.
Yeah.
And it was for sometimes odd for me, but at the same time, I am here to climb the legs. Do you know what I mean? Like it was like a nice, he's got like a strut, a Paul Campbell swagger, if you will.
Interesting. Paul Campbell, tall drink of water. He's like 5'6" or 6'5".
He's those legs. I think Kristin likes legs.
Yeah.
So, and they had him in some nice outfits. I didn't like the red sweater that he wore to that
event. Which was great when they said, "Oh, you have your ugly sweater."
You have your ugly sweater on.
Talk about me.
But I like a Polaha.
Yeah.
Delightful. I think he's a fantastic, like this guy wasn't bad. He actually, I think, wanted to make this work.
I think they both did. But again,
yes. They both did. But I think he was already planning to try and make it work because of taking that cooking class and stuff.
Bake a cake. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to give him a 7.5. 7.5.
Yes, we are symbiotic. I am also a 7.5. I like a Polaha pullover. Is that a thing we can call it? I like it. I didn't
Yeah.
mind the sweater because of the joke, and I thought he looked fine in it. It was funny because they have different rooms, which was interesting part of the story. But she comes out in her black dress, and he comes out in that, and she looked like $1,000,000, and he looked like $1,000,000 after taxes, and that's fine. But no, he was great. I really dug that character too. I loved
Yeah.
a lot of those moments. I love that he was her bar back when they were making the martinis, that it wasn't about him, it was about her. And I also love that she drove stick and he didn't. I thought that was an awesome choice when they go out in the borrowed car. I assume he doesn't know how to drive stick because she did. So
No, she did, and I liked that.
I give him a 7.5. I give him a 7.5.
A tie.
A tie. Then we move on to We Need a Little Christmas with Patrick Sabongui. That's not how you say
Patrick
it.
Sauvignon.
Sauvignon is a lot of wines. A lot of wines.
You go first, because I gotta look up what his face looks like.
I am. Here's the thing. When you look them up from Christmas sale, because we talked about, if you go back to season 1, we talk a lot about COVID hair. A lot of the gents had COVID hair. There was a lot of long hair. It almost looked kind of greasy because we didn't know if we get our hair cut back then. Nobody wanted to be too close to each other.
Shut up. That's the same dude?
Yeah, they did a disservice to him with this long hair because it made him look much more middle-aged and less what is typically a leading man. That said, I kind of dig that whole concept of being like, we need it to be, and that was part of, he was very disarming, right? That character.
Yeah.
Her husband has died, and here's this very disarming, very like approachable, nice fella that you don't feel there's a love connection at first, and then there is. So in that way, I've almost talked myself into being okay with it. But that said, there wasn't a lot to what they were doing with that character. That said, I thought of all the characters, with the exception of Carlo Marks, he was the nicest. So I'm going to give him nice points, and I'm going to give him a solid 7.
Nice points. I'm going to go a little lower. No, I don't want to go lower. I'm going to take off 0.2 from your 7 because of
Stoneheart.
My stone heart and his haircut.
Yeah, that's a great name for a band. My Stoneheart and his haircut. Finally, we are at a Kismet Christmas with the Carlo Marks, who, I'm not kidding, man. Chris and I, we talk about how much we love Tyler Hines. He's been on the show. We love Andrew Walker. He's been on the show. We love Paul Campbell. Still trying to make that happen. It's not going well. That said, Carlo Marks, you're welcome on the show anytime. This is a beautiful, tall drink of water. Kristin, where are you going with my man Carlo Marks?
We almost got a shirtless scene. Okay.
Yeah.
Why did we bother having an unbuttoned shirt if we could? There was like whispers of gray on his chest hair, whispers of gray in his stubble, whispers of gray. I'd said before, sultry eyes.
Very
steamy eyes, actually.
Steamy and sultry. Nice.
Steamy, because it was like he'd look at her and like I would feel steamy. And he was never a bad dude.
Never. That was
never. And if you're thinking to yourself, he had a baby at a young age, don't come at me. I think
nobody's coming at you, dude. You're good.
Love. Oh my God. Oh boy. It's the first weekend, so I can't get crazy.
I'm going crazy, so you can.
9.92.
Okay, nice. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a 10 for me. It's going to be a 10, dog, because the gray wisps and stuff like that. He was like that. Do the hair again, Chris, from the flashback.
Tonight
He, as the young dude, he still felt there was a responsibility. Sarah at some point says, there's this whole joke they play up of what Sarah Bear means, and it was they thought they encountered a bear camping once. It turned out to be a dog that they actually knew. But she says at the end of the movie, you thought it was a bear too, and before you realized it was a dog, you put yourself in front of me. And it was like everything about that character was good. And he even talks about his ex-wife, Jazzy's mom. There's no her name's Crystal. She's in a band. She's touring.
She's living her life.
And he says there are no bad guys here. And I love that because Hallmark, it was a staple that, and I'm not watching them, but I guarantee over at the, Great American Movie Christmas, that it's going to go back to the old Hallmark of the like 90s where it's very lily white, all very super hetero, and just like bland and vanilla.
Yeah, I'm not here for it.
This dude, like, he would smile and he was immediately a kid again. And I adored it. So he's a 10. It's a 10. It's a 10 for me.
His smile did different things for me than it did for you.
Oh. Speaking of different things, you can find us on all of the different socials. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we are on Twitter at Remark the Show. We do live tweet a lot of these movies. I'm not going to lie to you. While the Phillies are still in the World Series, I'm not going to be live tweeting any of these. I watch them when I can watch them at like 2 a.m. But if you do follow us in November and December, follow especially Twitter, and we will live tweet all of these movies. And if you like what we're saying, if you don't like what we're saying, hit us up at remarktheshow@gmail.com and tell us we're right, tell us we're wrong.
Yeah.
Tell your friends and enemies, however it is applicable about us. And subscribe and like on YouTube. I think we did it all.
We did it. I can't believe it. This one we gave up a lot of thumbs. The last one. We really liked it.
We did. Yeah.
Really enjoyable.
Definitely.
There's an amazing show that's going to be happening the last Friday in November, and then running through December on Fridays and some Saturday matinees, called Hallmarkable. I will be directing this brilliant cast to do a fully improvised Hallmark themed, styled genre movie live on stage. And so please check, tickets are available soon, and we are so excited to do this. It's amazing.
Yeah, if you're in the Philly area, and you definitely check it out. So many great people in the cast. Kristin, Allie, just awesome. I can't wait for it. Next weekend on Friday, we have a Cozy Christmas Inn with Jodie Sweetin coming back to the fold. Jolly Good Christmas on Saturday with Will Kemp and a very interesting haircut. We'll be talking about that. Christmas bedtime stories at 10 o'clock on Movies and Mysteries. And the Ghosts of Christmas Always. We'll get into our theory of death and everything on Sunday night. So we'll be back next week. Stay safe.
Bye, you're great.
Oh.
Go Phils.